The Strongest is a title that appears throughout countless anime and manga. A character that stands above everyone as an unbeatable figure draws attention. This is apparent when we look at the most popular new gen, Jujutsu Kaisen. JJK's explosion to popularity has a lot to do with its interesting take on The Strongest. Today, I want to take JJK's take on The Strongest and compare it to Bleach's. I've said this before, but this is not to call JJK a copy. I'm simply comparing two manga that I love. With that said, let's get into the topic. How do you become the strongest? To become the strongest in both JJK and Bleach, potential is a big contributor. People like Sukuna, Aizen, Gojo, Yamamoto, and Kashimo, they all are exceptionally talented people. Although talent in JJK and Bleach look pretty different, in JJK, talent is your ability to grow stronger and adapt and learn things on the fly. We have examples of this with Higuruma and Gojo. Both learn from near-death experiences and combat, gaining new techniques like reverse curse technique and domain amplification. In Bleach, talent seems to be based on your ability to grow in strength very fast and break down a fight and adapt. An underrated part of Ichigo's skill set is his ability to read moves and attack accordingly. It's highlighted in Renji vs. Ichigo and when Ichigo enters the Soul Palace. However, it's not just their potential that leads to them being the strongest. Plenty have similar potential to these people, but to truly reach the highest of heights, they need to overcome one last obstacle. In JJK, the obstacle is usually just casting aside humanity to become a monster. In Bleach, it can vary, but mental blocks as well as limiters put on by others do exist. For the mental blocks side of things, there are those like Kenpachi who limit themselves to the level of others. On the other side of things, we have Ichigo who has limiters put on him by many other people. In any case, the verses do share an awakening kind of narrative for their characters, which usually come through near-death states. Yes, I understand these aren't the same, but you'll notice the similarities between the strongest and the next section. What is the strongest? In both Jujutsu Kaisen and Bleach, several people have held the title of the strongest. In both mediums, some held this title and saw it as a curse. For example, Aizen, Gojo, and Kashimo felt cursed by the idea of having no one who could fight them as equals. They feel that no one can understand what it's like to be them, so they draw a line separating them from everyone. The strongest in both Bleach and Jujutsu Kaisen isn't a thing of celebration. For all these characters, it plays into their sense of alienation. Similarly, they both find comfort in the stripping of their title. When Ichigo arrives and defeats Aizen, he finally feels understood by someone else. This is very similar to Gojo, who finally got to have a fight where he could give it his all and lose to someone stronger. For Kashimo, they gain something different from their loss. I'll speak about that after I talk about a different type of the strongest. The strongest isn't always a title of solitude. Characters like Yamamoto and Sukuna do not feel isolated. They have these titles but don't yearn for any kind of equal to understand them. They can certainly find entertainment in fights, but it's not an emotional connection. One of the two, Sukuna, actually holds an outlook closer to something like Stoicism. Sukuna strongly believes that love doesn't matter because he loves himself. He eats what he wants, kills who he wants, and plays with whoever interests him. This may sound familiar to Bleach fans. This is exactly how Kenpachi Zaraki lives his life. It's why he and Sukuna are an anomaly and monsters compared to pretty much anyone else from either verse. Though Sukuna's beliefs aren't perfect, they help give Kashimo a sense of peace. Sukuna believes that Gojo and Kashimo are selfish. They are loved because they are the strongest, but they crave more. These words definitely could apply to Aizen. Aizen's ambition to no longer bow to the Soul King and find an opponent who understands him led to his downfall. He even screams at Kisuke because he can't understand how someone so smart could bow so easily. Aizen's a genius who could never do what Kisuke could, but continuously aims higher. Now, you're probably wondering if there's any connection between Yuji and Ichigo in reaching out to the strongest or beating the strongest. I'm happy to say there very much is. Both Yuji and Ichigo want to be the strongest, which is something that's overlooked. They want this to protect those they love, but they don't share the same selfish mindset as the others. Yuji and Ichigo are certainly smoke demons, but they're not fight obsessed. They don't focus on what they lose by being the strongest, only what they gain. In a way, they always had the mindset to equal out these monsters and surpass them. It's just the climb to the top that keeps them down. As long as they have these ambitions, though, they have what it takes to pique the interests of the current strongest and challenge them. Something else that's very similar is when Ichigo and Yuji fight their respective antagonists, Aizen and Sukuna. They are able to frustrate their villains, causing them to lose their cool. This is so noteworthy because Aizen and Sukuna very rarely lose their calm, with only Aizen ever showing any real frustration against Kisuke, and Sukuna only really ever showing frustration when Yuji calls him out and blatantly says that he can kill him. With that said, do you guys enjoy the trope of the strongest? Is there any other manga you truly feel does the strongest justice? Be sure to let me know in the comments, and thank you all for watching.